Raichel in Toronto, and we're just about to get ready for your concert here in Toronto. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's always a highlight, always wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. For the second time already.
It's the second time, yes. And as with the first time, I just want to jump right in there because time is always of the essence.
Yes.
Your latest project is one of improvisation that resulted in the music and the CD.
Yes.
And I know that with improvisation, I always look at it as a spiritual journey.
Yes.
The musicians have to intuit who will take the lead, who will fill the context, and to me that's very spiritual, and it's very much a journey with God, the idea of who takes the lead, who comes behind, who then moves. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you and those who were with you were feeling that, were negotiating that without words, which is really the hard part?
So the new album, it's called Tel Aviv Session, and the group called the Toure-Raichel Collective. Definitely it's a one-night journey. We all met in a studio in Tel Aviv with a legendary guitar player, amazing Viufarka Toure. He's an amazing guitar player from Niafunki, from the village in Mali, with his great percussion player Suleiman, one of Israeli legendary bass player Yossi Fine, and I play piano. And we featured a few guests through this journey. Yeah, especially recording with these musicians, we had to communicate only without words. Even Suleiman doesn't speak nothing but Bambara, the language in Mali. And I speak Hebrew, Yossi Fine speaks Hebrew, Viufarka Toure speaks French and Bambara, so it was mostly a journey, a spiritual journey that we just played through the night. It's important to say that we played through the night and we didn't record. So eventually we recorded everything, but the essence was to play. And I think this what makes the album so unique and so special. Kurt Cobain, rest in peace, said a month before he committed suicide that he missed the date, that he was just a bunch of friends meeting up in a rehearsal room and putting up a new band. There is something very pure by someone that just write a song, and he's not a singer-songwriter. You just write a song to your son, to your daughter, and you just put it in a drawer. Or you are a painter that you just paint a painting, but you don't want to make a show in a gallery. You just do it, the essence of the pure art. Yes. And I think that this jam session, this improvisation, this spiritual just playing, I'm very happy that we did it. At the end of the day, we did it in a recording studio that it was all recorded and almost as a documentary. Yes. But more of there are two films. You can to direct a film with a script and lines and dialogue. There is a documentary, and the documentary is filmed. Once it's a good documentary, this is the essence. This is the real life. Yes. And I would compare this album to just a documentary, the soundtrack, of the documentary of One Night in Tel Aviv. Yes. And what's beautiful also in the cover is the way that it is drawn or done. I showed it to someone and they said, isn't that interesting? It's like the mind is meeting the heart. Right. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because when you listen to the music, it is very much, I mean, you can't help but notice the skill. There's truly, the skill level is so high and so beautiful, and yet the spirituality of it, the heart that's coming through. I just want to ask, if I could, about the minimal vocals. There's a little bit of vocals, very minimal. Yes. And I know that in speaking of a documentary, when we look at ancient documents, we hear so many voices, and then suddenly, if one is silenced, it's not that it's absent; it's that it's silenced. Yes. Indeed. And I got that sense also
from this as well. And if you could speak toward that a bit.
Yeah, we, also Vieux Farka Toure and also me, myself, we are very song-oriented. We are producing, we write our songs and producing it. And then the lyrics has a lot of, everything is just to emphasize and support the lyrics and the verses and choruses.
That's right.
Once you use the melodies as your poetry, then the silent of the melody is just the breathing between the lines. You can, it's like it's just the simplicity of the melodies. Also in words, you can say, "I love you like the sky meet the sun," and like this, and da 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 da, and all these huge metaphors, and I can say, "I love you." And that's it, and it's boom. It's the pure truth, truth.
That cuts right through everything else.
And that's it. And I feel that we both, Vieux Farka Toure is playing with the guitar effects and huge amplifiers and very electric bands sometimes. And I've recorded with over 95 musicians and singers in the Idan Raichel project. But then we just took everything aside and stayed with the simple. With the simplicity that made this night to be so meaningful for us.
Right.
Because I feel that, at the end of the day, many musicians are having a lot of jam sessions during the year.
Yes.
During the year, but still, for us, this night meant a lot, and we thought that we want to share it with with the listeners.
Yes. First of all, to be able to capture that, it's like capturing magic. I mean, it's really...
Yes.
The other thing that I found so powerful about this was listening to it as the listener, and I don't know if you're aware of this or if you intended it, but as the listener, it comes as an invitation. It comes as, as you're listening to each instrument add more, and it expands and goes somewhere new.
Exactly.
And it's almost as if you're sitting there going, well, okay, here's my part. Here's my part I'm going to add into it too. And it just becomes this growing, powerful message.
So yeah, the album is edited in the same way that it was played through the night. So we just met and we all stopped playing, and then in one of the tracks, me and Yossi just went and just made tea. And then you can hear that in one of the tracks, it's only Farka is playing to himself and the percussion player. For like 2 minutes, they're playing for themselves. And then suddenly someone joined the room. And it was important for us not to overproduce the sound and the mix with a lot of reverbs and effects, and just to invite the listeners to the living room that we were playing in. Then Yankale Segal came in the room and played Iranian tar. Mark Eliyahu played Comanche. Kabra Kasai came and sang in Tigrian, her native language. Suddenly Farka Toure felt that he wants to add his vocal, so he sang in one of the tracks. So yeah, it was, and at the end of the day, the mixer engineer was sensitive enough to do it very, very, very organic, and to keep because many producers will take it and say, no, we have to make polish it and to make the difference between every track. We rather capture the moment.
Well, you did. It's so wonderful, and I can just imagine a group of people getting together in any country in the world and putting this on and bringing their drums or bringing a flute and just adding their voice to it, adding their little bit to it, and it just grows. It just grows and grows, which is so much of what you do. I mean, that's what you always bring. That's what you always do, is you bring something and invite the listener in to your perspective, and then it grows and grows. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for supporting us, and every time that we're here, we always feel welcome here with your interviews. So thanks for supporting us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.